So I'd like to actually start with Peggy Sutton and hear a little bit about the Mayfair Academy because next to Sammy Dyer, I mean, that was just a stronghold of the Southside dance education scene. So Peggy, can you tell us a little bit about why your father started Mayfair?
Sure. My father started Mayfair in 1957, and he did so because at the time there weren't many places for children of color to get, a good dance education. So, basically that's why he started Mayfair at that time. And there were, a few people around, like, of course, Sammy Dyer, Jimmy Payne, the three of them, together were definitely on the South Side dance scene.
Yeah, and I know that Tommy was mostly known as a tap dancer, and the Sammy Dyer School has such a reputation for producing such great tap dancers as well. But Pierre and August, you're rooted primarily in ballet, right? And Forward Momentum has a bit of a different model than having one building where all the students come and take class. You're in a lot of places. Pierre, can you tell us a little bit about that?
Sure. Forward Momentum Chicago's mission primarily is to bring dance to children and communities that don't have access. So our primary goal is to take the dance to where the kids are. We tried bringing them into one location, but because our kids are all over, because they come from a lot of communities that just don't have access to get them around, what we try to do is we take most of the work that we do is within the schools, and then we also have sites around the city where we have programming.
Great. And sorry, I'm having a little trouble hearing right now. But August, Hyde Park School of Dance has an interesting origin story. Speaking of being rooted in ballet, can you kind of quickly summarize that?
Sure. Well, we started in 1993, and it was Hyde Park School of Ballet at the time. But before that, the reason I moved to Chicago was to teach in Maria Talchief's school. And so when she lost her space at Franklin in Erie, we moved the school to the First Unitarian Church. And then she decided to retire from running a dance school. Who can blame her? It's been a lot of years. And so she, one of the parents of some of the students that I had, decided to found the Hyde Park School of Ballet, which is what it was originated as, with me, Marilyn Shepard, and she was the first president and executive director. And then we decided that ballet was just too tight of a word, and we wanted to expand our programming, and so we expanded to some Horton-based modern. We actually had jazz and other offerings, flamenco in the beginning. So that's how we started out, with about 30 students to begin with, and now we're at close to 500. So it's been an interesting and fun journey.
Yeah, and Chris, you're sort of the one to help connect all of us to each other too, because you're a ballet instructor. I know you worked with Pierre in the past, and also coming up in the Sammy Dyer School, being the niece of Shirley Hall Bass. We just heard a little bit about her from Ted Levy, but I'd love to hear your perspective. You and I have been talking a lot and researching a lot of her history. He mentioned all the big productions, and I think from what I've been learning, she did so much, not only for dance education on the South Side, but this cultural exchange that happened between Chicago and the Bahamas. Can you just kind of help us zoom out from Chicago with that?
Absolutely, yeah. I would say that, Sammy Dyer was founded in 1933, so it had a very long history of really what I think of it now, and I look back on it, it's theater arts. The kids were taught ballet, tumbling, acrobatics, voice, theater, dramatic arts. So it was really a preparation for, show business, Shirley would have said, but also for Broadway, and that's where Sammy Dyer was from. When he passed away, my aunt took over the direction of the school, and one of the amazing connections that she had made while touring as a Dyerette, which was Sammy Dyer's chorus line group, she had made the acquaintance of Freddie Munnings, who was a Bahamian clarinet player who was in the Duke Ellington band, and he thought Shirley was an amazing choreographer and dancer and invited her to produce shows. When she got there, she staged a number of productions, fell in love with the Bahamas. And before what was what, she was being asked by really like the new elite, because that country gained independence in 1973, and we're talking 1968. So this new elite of Black Bahamian wives and women wanted arts training for their children. And so Shirley was sort of invited to establish Bahamas School, Bahamas Dance Theater, which became Sammy Dar's sister school. And for 30 years, she brought children from the Bahamas to Chicago and alternated the other year. Very careful placement of families and homes, lots of consideration of this incredible cultural experience. And it was amazing. We had a show at the end of every summer, and the children, and as you know, because we interviewed a lot of those participants, they maintained relationships throughout their lives, like forever and a day. Their children, their next generations of an international dance relationship.
And that's what I want to ask about, actually, for anybody. You mentioned these relationships that are maintained, and all four of you are such great educators and come from a long line of educators. You're really the ones building our dance community. Whether or not students go on to perform professionally, they have the arts in their lives. And so, at the risk of sort of asking a question that preaches to the choir, what does a dance education afford a young person in general, whether or not they pursue it as an adult? In general, but also speaking directly about the students in your neighborhoods, what does that arts education do for them?
I think that it provides structure, discipline, a sense of community, a sense of family, and I'm sure that applies to everybody on this panel. And so, as you said, a lot of these kids, they grow up together, they learn together, they experience things along with their family, and that just translates, to a better human being in the long run.
I would also add, I've worked with both Chris when she was at Sammy Dyer, and did quite a bit of work with August. One of the cool things about the work that I do, because the students don't typically have an opportunity to experience dance, we are starting to build good relationships also with Deeply Rooted Dance Theater, where we are, and the Chicago Academy of the Arts, and Shy Art, starting to actually build a foundation for kids so that they have an opportunity for those who are interested. August has worked with me. She's given students from our program scholarships. One of the kids that Chris knows, Houston Thomas, was a Sammy Dyer kid, and when I was working at the Joffrey, through those connections that we had, Houston's now dancing professionally. Several of our students are dancing professionally. And so what we're starting to do, I think that we're starting to see the Southside kind of open up and look more towards partnership.
I would agree with both of Peggy and Pierre. Great comments about what dance does for people, and you just never know what you're going to launch with a dancer. I'm really proud of our alumni. I think Tara Willis is going to be speaking on this panel, and she started at Hyde Park School of Dance. Of course, she continued her education after that. Can't take full responsibility for her, but and then Kia Smith, who started at South Chicago Dance Theater, is doing amazing work and about to celebrate her 5th anniversary. Got her very beginnings from Hyde Park School of Dance, and so and it's not just other dancers you're launching. You're launching people who are going into school for PhDs. I have quite a few students who are now, PhD in chemistry or physics. So they have this discipline and this self-confidence, I think, is a big thing that dance can give a person, is self-confidence to do whatever it is that you want to do in life. Once you've gotten up on stage and danced in tights and a leotard in front of hundreds of people, there's a certain amount of confidence you have to be able to do that in the first place. And I always hope that carries on through whatever they do in their lives. And I've been seeing more and more of that with our alumni.
Yeah, I would add that I think it's really important. We talk a lot about life skills when we talk about dance education, and even if it doesn't lead to a professional dance experience, what I've seen both in the work with Pierre, because Pierre worked educational programming with me at the Joffrey, and then of course with his own organization, what I see is an ability to communicate and collaborate. Right, the programming that Pierre provides allows the children to impart their own ideas, their own creativity, to a space where they can express themselves. That is so rarely offered in Chicago public schools or schools in general, where kids are invited to express themselves creatively and to collaborate and to work together. You can't make a dance with somebody and not get along with them, right? That has to happen. You have to be able to work that out. So I think that's what dance education does.
Yeah, those first graders are lucky to have you. August touched
Pierre's
on. Pierre, you're muted.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think it also gives the families an opportunity to see their children in a way that they've never seen before. So many times, people are just surprised that their children, because usually with us, as with most dance companies, the parents are kind of like kept over there. And then when the time comes for them to actually see their child on stage, it's something that they're not see because we have a different set of rules and expectations than they have at home. So I think we're really producing, like Pam said, some things that parents probably see, but we're taking it to a higher level, I think.
Yeah, and real quick, in 30 seconds, August brought up, this concept of alumni that have come from the Southside. Who else do we know about, and who are we watching on stage that got their start on the Southside?
Well, one of our alumni, and she didn't come to acclaim because of her dancing, but of course we are very proud of Michelle Obama, who was a Mayfair alumni. Of course, one of our best first ladies, and so that just goes back to the life lessons and the grace and the different things that you learn through dance that can carry you to wherever it is you want to go.
I have, in addition to Houston Thomas, 2 ballet boys that came out of Sammy Dyer that I have to send a shout out to. Kyle Davis is now dancing in New York with the Tons Innsbruck Ballet Company. And we also have Alexander Allen, who is dancing in Texas. And, and Pierre will testify, to be a boy in ballet is one thing, to be a black boy in ballet is a whole other thing. I'm incredibly proud of them. Jemani Taylor, very well, came out of Sammy Dyer. He started there, a little teeny tiny top child, and is now doing Jacob's Pillow and all incredible work all around Chicago. And my most recent appearance of Danetta Little Bit Jackson is a footwork artist. Tap dancer, for real, right? But is now a footwork artist doing things with all kinds of Chicago rappers and really getting herself out there. So I think it's amazing. I'm excited to see this next generation and just so excited to be able to participate and carry on the legacy of my aunt and all these incredible dance educators you've invited today.
Yeah, and I've got a million more questions. I wish we could keep talking, but I'm really, really glad to have had this time with all of you. And Michelle Obama, if you're watching, we would also like to interview you for the project. Yes, Peggy and I together, maybe. But thank you all so much for your time. And yes, I hope we can continue the conversation again real soon.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.